From the moment you found this message, something within you already knew. This wasn't random. You were pulled here by resonance, by an invisible algorithm far beyond YouTube's code, the algorithm of consciousness itself. Because when your vibration reaches a precise threshold, reality begins to respond instantly. You stop manifesting through effort and start manifesting through alignment. The hidden reason quantum manifestation works so fast is not about learning something new. It's about remembering what you already are, the field that bends time, collapses possibility, and shapes existence the moment awareness looks through your eyes. Recognition is the first spark that awakens creation. Most people think they must believe harder, visualize longer, or repeat affirmations until reality listens. But the truth is far quieter, far simpler, and far faster. Reality doesn't wait for belief, it mirrors recognition. Belief still implies distance. Recognition collapses it. The moment you recognize yourself not as the human reaching for the quantum, but as the quantum field becoming aware of itself through human form, something instantaneous happens. The gap between intention and experience begins to dissolve. This is why quantum manifestation works so fast for those who stop trying to make it work. The field is not impressed by your efforts, it is moved by your remembrance. When you recognize that you are the observer through which every particle receives its instruction, the whole structure of existence reorganizes in obedience to that awareness. You are not commanding reality from outside it, you are reprogramming it from within its code. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is light, not metaphorical light, but literal vibration streaming through the invisible web of possibility. Each thought, emotion, and expectation becomes a frequency pattern that tells the field what form to assume. Yet when your light is scattered, when you doubt, when you seek, when you identify as the one trying to align, the signal becomes diffused. The field cannot respond instantly because it receives mixed instructions. It's not withholding your manifestation, it's waiting for a coherent signal. Recognition is coherence. It is the instant all frequencies merge into one unwavering tone. That tone is you saying, without words, I already am. And because the quantum field does not understand time, only resonance, it rearranges itself to reflect that state immediately. There is no delay because there is no distance between cause and effect when you stand in your own knowing. This is what the mystics meant by the power of the I am. When you say, I am abundant, not as a hopeful mantra but as a statement of awareness, you're not convincing reality, you're collapsing probability. You are turning potential into actual. Recognition doesn't beg, it declares. And in the quantum world, declaration is creation. It's easy to think this sounds poetic, but beneath the poetry lies physics. In quantum mechanics, a particle doesn't exist in a fixed state until observed. The observer collapses the wave function, an infinite spectrum of possibilities, into a single measurable reality. What spiritual language calls manifestation, science calls observation. Both describe the same mystery, awareness choosing form, and the speed of that choice depends entirely on coherence. That's why some manifestations seem to take years while others happen overnight. The difference isn't divine timing, it's the precision of your vibration. When your signal is consistent, the field doesn't need time to interpret it. It simply reflects it back. When your signal flickers, believing one moment, doubting the next, the field receives mixed code, and the output wavers accordingly. Think of it like tuning a radio. When the frequency is off by even a fraction, static fills the space between you and the music. The music is already playing, but your receiver isn't precise enough to catch it clearly. The moment you fine-tune the dial, the moment recognition replaces effort, the song appears and it feels instant. But the song was never missing. You simply became clear enough to hear it. Recognition also dissolves the illusion of waiting. Waiting implies separation. When you say, I'm waiting for my manifestation, you're unconsciously affirming that it exists elsewhere, somewhere in the future, somewhere outside of you. But the field doesn't understand later. It only knows now. Recognition happens in the present tense. The moment you recognize the frequency of what you desire as already within your awareness, time becomes irrelevant. You shift from asking, when will it happen, to realizing, is happening because I am perceiving it. This is the paradox of quantum speed. It's not about acceleration, it's about stillness. The less you chase, the faster it comes, because chasing vibrates as lack, and stillness vibrates as arrival. Recognition is the still point in the center of infinite motion, where everything rearranges without effort. So when I say the field responds to recognition, Understand that you are not summoning something external. You are calling yourself back into coherence. Every version of you already exists in the quantum field, the abundant one, the healed one, the enlightened one. Recognition is simply the act of aligning your awareness with the version already holding what you desire. You don't climb a ladder to reach it. You change the frequency and appear there instantly. This is why miracles appear sudden. They are not interruptions of natural law. They are demonstrations of how instantly reality obeys when the observer becomes undivided. You stop living as someone separate from their manifestation and realize you have always been the consciousness generating the reflection. Recognition is remembering. It is the undoing of forgetting that you are the field. And the beauty of it is, it doesn't require effort, ritual, or even belief. It only requires presence. The moment you pause and feel the subtle hum of existence within you, that quiet awareness beneath thought, you are already recognized by the field as itself. From that space, manifestations begin to accelerate, conversations align, synchronicities multiply, probability bends in your favor because the field perceives no difference between your vibration and the outcome. You see, reality does not happen to you, it happens as you. The field doesn't ask whether you're ready, it mirrors what you recognize yourself to be. So the true speed of manifestation is not about learning to create faster, it's about remembering more fully. Recognition bypasses time because it bypasses doubt. The moment you recognize yourself as the signal, not the sender, the universe can only respond instantly. And in that instant, the very moment awareness meets itself, the hidden mechanism of quantum manifestation reveals its secret. The field has never been responding to your words, your rituals, or your effort. It has only ever been responding to your recognition. Time is the most convincing illusion because it feels so real. You wake up inside it, you measure your progress by it, you even pray within its borders, as if time were the container and you were the content. But what if it's the other way around? What if time is the echo of your own awareness? A mirror reflecting how aligned or scattered your frequency is in this exact moment. The slower your recognition, the denser the reflection appears. The faster your coherence, the more reality seems to leap forward to meet you. This is the hidden rhythm of quantum speed, the realization that time is not a measure of distance, but a mirror of resonance. When people say, "Who's taking time?" what they really mean is, "My signal hasn't stabilized yet." Time is how the universe allows your energy to organize itself into one consistent tone. The reason quantum manifestation appears to work faster for some isn't because they've hacked the system. It's because they've stopped seeing time as a line and started seeing it as a mirror. They no longer wait for the future to deliver. They become the frequency of what they were waiting for, and the reflection appears immediately. You've probably noticed that when you're deeply aligned, those moments of flow where everything feels inevitable, time disappears. Hours pass in seconds, or seconds stretch into eternity. This isn't poetic exaggeration, it's quantum mechanics playing out through human experience. Time bends to the quality of consciousness observing it. It is elastic because you are the one stretching or contracting it through attention. That's why impatience slows things down and surrender speeds them up. Impatience vibrates as separation. I am here and what I want is there. Surrender vibrates as unity. It's all here, already unfolding. The field reads both frequencies without judgment and mirrors them perfectly. When you understand this, you stop measuring your manifestations by calendars. You stop asking, "When will it happen?" and start asking, "How clearly am I holding it now?" Because there is no when, there is only a constant no, expressing itself through different densities of belief. The future is not waiting somewhere ahead. It is a probability vibrating beside you, waiting for your alignment to make it visible. Imagine standing in a hall of mirrors. Each mirror reflects a different version of you. One abundant, one healing, one thriving in peace, one lost in fear. You do not walk toward these reflections. You shift your posture, your expression, your focus, and the mirror that matches your vibration shines brightest. That is the timeline you call your reality. You didn't travel anywhere. You tuned your awareness to the reflection already containing the outcome. That is how manifestation transcends time. It's not acceleration, it's translation. This is why the phrase, "Trust divine timing," has layers of truth and misunderstanding. The divine doesn't operate on a clock. What we call timing is just coherence reaching critical mass. The moment your frequency matches the vibration of what you seek, it appears, not sooner, not later. It was never waiting in time, it was waiting in resonance. Divine timing, then, isn't about patience, it's about alignment. You may have noticed that when you desperately want something to happen, a message, a sign, a shift, it seems delayed. But the instant you let go, the moment you forget to watch the clock, it appears. This is because wanting operates in future tense, and letting go collapses time back into the present. When you stop looking for it, your vibration stops stretching time into tomorrow. You become now again, and the mirror shows what now contains. The paradox is beautiful. When you release your fixation on speed, everything accelerates. When you stop trying to make things happen faster, they do. Time serves the one who no longer serves it. The quantum field is timeless, so when you identify as the field, you transcend time's linear script. You no longer manifest in time, you manifest as time. You become the author, not the actor. Think about D8 view, that strange moment when you're certain you've been here before. That sensation isn't a glitch, it's a glimpse of simultaneous realities overlapping. Your awareness temporarily peeks into the version of you that already experienced this moment, and the memory bleeds through. It's proof that time doesn't move, it folds. Your consciousness moves through it like light refracting through crystal, seeing different faces of the same prism. Manifestation works the same way. The version of you that already has what you seek is not ahead of you, it's adjacent, vibrating in parallel. Recognition shifts your frequency, and suddenly, you're standing where that version always was. This is also why certain changes feel instantaneous. You meet someone and your life trajectory transforms in a single day. You hear one phrase, and a decade of confusion dissolves. Nothing external moved faster, you did. You aligned so sharply that the reflection changed in real time. You literally stepped between timelines. And because alignment collapses the distance between cause and effect, it feels like the universe moved at light speed. But the universe didn't move, it mirrored. Time, then, is not your enemy or your ally, it's your echo. It repeats whatever frequency you emit. When you say, "Who's taking too long?" the echo expands. When you say, "It's already unfolding," the echo tightens. You command time not through urgency, but through awareness. The clearer your presence, the more immediate the reflection. So when I tell you quantum manifestation works so fast, it's not because it breaks time. It's because it reveals that time was never there. The delay was only your own divided focus, your belief that tomorrow holds something today does not. When that illusion dissolves, so does waiting. You begin to notice synchronicities stack, thoughts becoming events, feelings turning into encounters, symbols repeating until the pattern becomes undeniable. This isn't acceleration, it's revelation. The field is showing you how perfectly your current frequency governs everything you perceive. And when that realization lands, you no longer rush. You no longer chase signs or force alignment. You start to move through life with the rhythm of inevitability, because you understand that the moment you align with the vibration of your desired reality, you and that future are already touching. Time, as you once knew it, has collapsed into the singular hum of now. You're not running toward what you want anymore. You're remembering where it has always been. Emotion is the language the universe cannot misinterpret. Thought can contradict itself, words can lie, beliefs can fluctuate, but emotion is pure frequency. It carries no disguise. It is vibration rendered human, energy shaped into sensation, and it travels through the field faster than light, because it is light, slowed just enough to become feeling. This is why your emotion is never a side effect of experience, but the architecture of it. The field doesn't respond to what you think you want, it responds to the emotion you broadcast in the silence between thoughts. It listens to the music beneath your mental noise and mirrors it flawlessly into form. You've been told to control your emotions, to stay positive, to rise above the chaos. But control is just another form of resistance, and resistance distorts the signal. The field doesn't judge frequencies as good or bad. It only measures coherence. Anger, grief, even despair, when felt consciously without shame, can harmonize you faster than forced positivity, because authenticity vibrates higher than pretense. Emotion in its raw, truthful form is coherence. Repression is dissonance. The field reads the honesty, not the label. Think of emotion as the speed of light moving through your body. When you feel joy, gratitude, awe, your frequency is in alignment with expansion, and expansion travels instantly through the quantum field. It doesn't need time to manifest because it's already moving at the velocity of truth. But when you suppress or fragment emotion, the signal slows. It's like light diffusing through fog. It still shines, but its direction is lost. You don't need to force positivity. You need to clear the fog by allowing the full spectrum of your own feeling to exist without resistance. This is the paradox. The faster path is the softer one. Manifestation accelerates not when you bypass emotion, but when you allow it completely. Because the moment you stop filtering what you feel, your energy returns to coherence, and coherence commands speed. That's why healing is not the opposite of manifestation. It is manifestation. Every time you honor what arises in your emotional field, you refine the signal that creates your physical field. Have you ever noticed how quickly reality responds when you genuinely shift how you feel, not what you say? You let go of resentment, and within hours the person you'd been thinking about texts you. You forgive yourself for a mistake, and suddenly the block that felt immovable dissolves. That's not coincidence. That's quantum velocity. Emotion reorganizes energy faster than intellect ever can. The mind operates linearly. It reasons, measures, calculates. Emotion leaps. It transmits instantaneously because it doesn't need to be understood to be effective. It just needs to be felt. In the quantum field, emotion acts like gravity. It draws matching frequencies into orbit. The deeper and truer the emotion, the stronger its magnetic pull. But that pull isn't determined by whether the feeling is pleasant or painful. It's determined by its integrity. False joy attracts confusion because it vibrates as denial. Honest sorrow attracts transformation because it vibrates as truth. So when you allow yourself to feel fully, to grieve, to laugh, to tremble with awe, you are not derailing your manifestation. You are accelerating it by purifying the signal. The reason many people feel stuck is not because the universe has ignored them, but because they've been broadcasting two conflicting emotions at once. Desire mixed with fear, hope wrapped in doubt, excitement shadowed by guilt. These contradictions slow the current of creation because the field cannot harmonize in coherence. The instant your emotion becomes unified, when every cell of you agrees with what you feel, reality mirrors it back almost instantly. That's why joy is magnetic and clarity feels miraculous. Both are emotional coherence. And this is where the deeper mystery unfolds. Emotion is not yours alone. It is the field experiencing itself through you. When you feel deeply, you are not generating energy, you are translating it. The field flows through your nervous system, seeking expression, expansion, completion. Every wave of feeling is the universe touching itself, learning itself, loving itself through you. That's why denying emotion feels like numbness. You're resisting the pulse of the cosmos moving through your body. But when you open, when you allow the wave to move without control, you return to your natural velocity. You begin to move as light again. That's also why gratitude is such a powerful amplifier. Gratitude isn't polite appreciation, it's resonance recognition. It's the emotion that says, I see what already is, and I align with it. Gratitude vibrates so fast because it doesn't chase, it stabilizes. It locks your frequency into the reality where everything you desire already exists. It is not a reaction to receiving, it is the cause of receiving. Gratitude is the quantum signature of arrival. In truth, every emotion is sacred, because each carries information from a different layer of your field. Fear shows you where energy is constricted. Desire shows you where expansion wants to happen. Love shows you the frequency of unity. Together they compose the full harmonic of your existence. The goal isn't to live only in one note, but to let the music play without distortion. When you do, reality becomes an orchestra responding in real time to your emotional melody. So if you wish for your manifestations to move faster, do not tighten your grip on visualization or mantras. Feel deeply, feel honestly, feel without editing what arises, because emotion is the purest form of alignment. It's the bridge between thought and form. When you allow emotion to flow unobstructed, you clear the pathway through which quantum information travels. That's why sometimes one honest cry, one moment of surrendered laughter, or one surge of awe does more to shift your life than years of mental effort. Emotion moves at the speed of truth, and truth has no delay. You are the current that carries creation. Each time you let your heart open wider, reality rearranges itself faster, because the field finally has a direct line to express through you. That is the hidden acceleration, not in doing more, but in feeling more purely. Because when your emotion aligns with your awareness, the signal becomes flawless, the field becomes clear, and manifestation stops being a process. It becomes a pulse, instantaneous, luminous, and alive. You have been taught to believe that you exist inside reality, a small consciousness moving through a vast external world. But the deeper truth, the one that every mystic, every scientist on the edge of understanding has glimpsed, is the exact opposite. Reality exists inside your observation. You are not the traveler moving through space. You are the space through which everything travels. The trees, the stars, the faces you love, all of them flicker into being the moment your awareness touches them. The observer is not a participant in the universe. The observer is the catalyst that makes the universe real. Every quantum experiment whispers this secret. When no one watches, matter remains uncertain, a shimmering wave of potential. The moment observation enters, the instant consciousness looks, the wave collapses into a definite form. You call it coincidence, luck, fate, but it is none of these. It is the field responding to your gaze, the mirror solidifying around your perception. Quantum manifestation works so fast because observation is instantaneous creation. The field doesn't move toward you, it stabilizes through you. Think of your attention as a sculptor's hand. Whatever you rested upon begins to take shape. When you see lack, you carve lack. When you see beauty, you carve beauty. This is why awareness is sacred. It is not passive, it is creative. The observer is the blueprint of every outcome. You are not creating from imagination, you are activating from perception. The very act of noticing something with emotional presence invites it to crystallize into form. What you observe with conviction becomes real, because observation is energetic agreement. The paradox, of course, is that the harder you try to make reality obey you, the slower it becomes. Effort implies separation. Command arises naturally from unity. When you identify as a person trying to manifest, you unconsciously broadcast a signal of division. I am here, the manifestation is there. The field mirrors that exact configuration, keeping what you desire at arm's length. But the moment you remember that you are not a fragment inside the field, but the consciousness generating its frequency, the gap collapses. Manifestation becomes effortless because there is no longer anyone left to do it. There is only the field expressing itself through the clear lens of your awareness. This is why surrender is the ultimate technology of creation. Not surrender as defeat, but surrender as return. The return to your natural position as the witness rather than the struggler. The witness doesn't push, it allows. And allowance is the purest form of control. The field listens more closely to stillness than to force, because stillness transmits the signal without interference. It is coherence made visible. The moment you stop manipulating the reflection, the mirror becomes clear. Imagine standing before a still lake. When the surface ripples, your reflection distorts. You cannot fix the image by reaching into the water. Your hand only creates more ripples. But when you become still, when you release the impulse to correct the reflection, the water calms, and suddenly your true face appears. The universe functions exactly like that. When you stop reacting to appearances and rest in the awareness that the reflection follows the observer, not the other way around, manifestation begins to flow naturally and rapidly. There is no need to visualize endlessly or repeat affirmations until your voice fades. What you are trying to convince with words already knows the truth. Your awareness has always been the command. You do not need to shout into the field. You simply need to see with clarity. Observation is prayer. Focus is invocation. When you hold something in your consciousness without resistance, the field cannot help but rearrange itself around that focus. That is its only function, to mirror the observer perfectly. But here is the nuance that changes everything. The universe does not respond to what you look at. It responds to the state of the one who is looking. Two people can gaze at the same sunset. One sees beauty, the other sees emptiness. The photons are identical, but the realities are not. It is not the object, but the observer that defines the experience. Reality conforms to the emotional frequency of the observer's gaze. The more unified and present that gaze, the faster the collapse into form. That's why manifestation slows when you overthink. The mind fractures observation into 1,000 conditions. What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? What if I lose it again? Each thought is a ripple scattering the reflection. But when you step behind the mind into pure awareness, the field receives a singular, unwavering signal. I am the one observing existence into being. That is coherence. That is command. That is speed. And yet this awareness carries no arrogance, no grasping. It feels like peace, not power. Because true power doesn't assert itself. It simply is. The more you dissolve into presence, the more authority you hold. The less you try to manifest, the more reality accelerates to meet you, because the universe recognizes itself in your stillness. The observer and the observed are the same being, finally aware of their reflection. Even in your most ordinary moments, this truth operates quietly. When you walk into a room and the atmosphere shifts, when someone feels lighter just because you smiled, when opportunities appear right after you release control, these are not coincidences. They are demonstrations of observation at work. You didn't do anything extraordinary. You simply became the stabilizing field through which potential could take form. You observed without interference, and the universe responded immediately. So if you wish to experience the hidden speed of manifestation, begin by remembering your true position. You are not the actor trapped in the play. You are the screen upon which the play appears. You are not the wave tossed by circumstance. You are the ocean noticing its own motion. The moment that remembrance becomes steady, creation becomes spontaneous. The observer doesn't need to fix reality. It only needs to witness it clearly. And in that witnessing, the entire cosmos rearranges itself to match the frequency of your seeing. Because in the end, there was never a gap between you and the world. The gap was only in perception, and the instant you realize the observer and the observed are one, the instant awareness recognizes itself as the origin, reality obeys without hesitation. The collapse happens, the manifestation appears, the field stabilizes, not because you forced it to, but because you finally saw that it was never separate from you to begin with. Silence has always frightened the human mind because silence cannot be controlled. It holds no edges, no story, no movement to grasp. Yet in that very stillness lies the power that moves worlds. The quantum field doesn't erupt from sound or effort. It awakens from stillness. The silent hum beneath every vibration, the calm heartbeat at the center of every storm. When you finally stop trying to make things happen, reality begins to move on its own. It is not indifference that accelerates manifestation. It is surrender into the stillness that already contains all potential. We have been conditioned to equate activity with progress, to believe that movement means momentum. But in the quantum field, the opposite is true. The still point generates all motion. Just as the eye of a hurricane governs the storm, it is the calm within consciousness that directs the unfolding of events. When you become still, truly still, beyond waiting, you return to the state from which creation naturally arises. You stop vibrating as a seeker and start vibrating as the source. The difference is everything. Stillness is not absence, it is fullness disguised as emptiness. It is the womb of reality where unformed energy waits for recognition. When you rest deeply enough in awareness, without grasping, the field begins to organize itself around your vibration. It doesn't need your instructions, it already knows your essence. The more you trust this intelligence, the faster it can move. The slower you breathe, the faster the universe synchronizes, because stillness is coherence at its highest frequency, the signal of unity so pure that the field can translate it without distortion. Most people confuse stillness with stagnation. They think doing nothing means nothing happens. But look closely. Even in the deepest silence, creation is roaring beneath the surface. The seed buried in the soil appears dormant, yet it's orchestrating the miracle of sprouting. The caterpillar in the cocoon seems lifeless, yet it's dissolving into flight. Stillness is not the pause between movements. It is the source of all movement. You don't manifest by pushing reality. You allow it to bloom from the stillness you embody. You may notice that the greatest shifts often come after moments of quiet surrender. A breakthrough appears after you give up forcing it. The right opportunity arrives the moment you stop chasing it. It's not coincidence, it's the field responding to your release. Effort transmits static, stillness transmits signal. When you relax the vibration of trying, the field can finally hear you. You stop shouting commands into the void and start whispering resonance into being. The universe doesn't need volume, it needs clarity, and clarity is born in stillness. This is why meditation has always been called the gateway, not because it is spiritual tradition, but because it restores you to the vibrational state of creation itself. When your mind quiets, the separation between me and the universe fades. In that merging, manifestation happens instantaneously. The paradox is that you cannot enter stillness to get something, the very intention to use. Stillness keeps you from it. You enter simply to remember. And in that remembrance, everything you thought you needed begins to unfold naturally, because the field recognizes you again. The more still you become, the more alive everything else becomes. Sounds sharpen, colors deepen, time dissolves. You begin to notice the rhythm that was always there, the breath of existence inhaling and exhaling through form. When you synchronize with that rhythm, your desires align automatically, because they were never separate from that pulse. you begin to realize that manifestation isn't about summoning outcomes. It's about attuning to the tempo of what already exists. Stillness is how you tune the instrument. Have you ever noticed that silence feels dense, almost tangible? That's because it's not empty. It's filled with potential. When you drop beneath thought and emotion, when the mind stops grasping, you touch that density. It feels like space pressing gently from all directions, yet it carries intelligence. That is the raw frequency of creation before it becomes words, decisions, or matter. Every reality you could live is folded inside that silence, waiting for your recognition to bring it forth. And this is the hidden grace. The faster you stop measuring time, the faster time obeys you. The moment you stop saying, "Why isn't it here yet?" you collapse the vibration of waiting. Stillness doesn't chase, doesn't question, doesn't doubt. It simply is. And because the field is a perfect mirror, it reflects that state instantly. When you rest in stillness, you tell the universe, "It is done," and so it is. Even science has begun to echo this truth. Every wave in the quantum field oscillates around a 0 point, a point of no motion that contains infinite potential energy. That 0 point is not absence. It is the foundation of existence. You are built from it. You return to it in every breath. And when you dwell in that 0 point consciously, when you allow yourself to fall into the quiet center, you are standing in the command seat of creation. From there, manifestation isn't an event, it's a reflection. So the next time you feel urgency rising, the pressure to fix, to act, to make it happen, pause. Listen for the silence beneath your thoughts. Feel the pulse of being humming softly in your chest. That is the doorway. Step through it not with effort, but with awareness. Let your attention rest there until the edges between you and existence blur. The longer you stay, the more you'll notice that the field begins to move without your intervention. Life arranges itself. People call, opportunities align, timing perfects. You didn't summon it, you synchronized with it. This is the art of stillness, the paradox that by doing nothing, everything is done. The quiet mind is not passive, it is magnetic. The surrendered heart is not weak, it is invincible. When you release your grip, the current carries you faster than any struggle could. The universe does not need you to force the tide. It only needs you to stop fighting the flow. In the calm of your awareness, the field finds its reflection, and creation accelerates into perfect order. So sit in the silence. Let the hum of existence surround you. The stillness you fear losing yourself in is not emptiness. It is your original frequency. It is the womb of all worlds, the infinite pause between breaths where reality renews itself. The hidden reason manifestation works so fast in stillness is because stillness was the first manifestation. It is consciousness before form, the 0 before the 1. And when you remember how to rest there, you don't wait for miracles. You become the place where miracles begin. There comes a moment when you realize that everything you were seeking to become has already been quietly alive within you. It's almost disorienting at first, the recognition that the journey was never about reaching something new, but remembering something ancient. The final revelation isn't a destination, it's an unveiling. It's the gentle removal of the last illusion that you were ever separate from the power that creates worlds. When this truth begins to dawn, it doesn't arrive with thunder, it arrives with peace. You feel it in the stillness between thoughts, in the ease that replaces striving. The hidden reason quantum manifestation works so fast is because once you truly see yourself as the field, there is no longer any distance between desire and reality. You have always been the observer and the observed, the creator and the creation, the vibration and the form it produces. You've played each role so convincingly that you forgot the stage itself was your consciousness projecting scenes of learning, contrast, and expansion. But as the illusion softens, as your awareness relaxes into itself, the field recognizes its own reflection and rearranges instantly. There is no longer a process, because process requires time, and time dissolves when identity dissolves. You do not wait for alignment, you are alignment. You do not visualize outcomes, you embody them. The moment the I that tries disappears, the universe moves without resistance. Every teacher has said it in their own way. Be still and know, ask and it is given, believe you have received. These aren't poetic metaphors, they are instructions for collapsing the illusion of separation. Manifestation happens not through doing, but through being so deeply coherent with what you desire that there's no energetic distinction left. When you no longer observe your desire as something outside of you, the field has no choice but to express it through you. The delay that once seemed like time is simply the echo of disbelief. When belief dissolves, speed becomes instantaneous. You begin to notice how reality rearranges to mirror the vibration you stabilize in. The people who once drained your energy begin to drift away, not through conflict but through frequency mismatch. New synchronicities appear, not because you chased them, but because your field now resonates with them. The universe speaks to you through patterns, numbers, glances, sensations. The very air feels intelligent, responding to your silent state. What you once called signs are now seen for what they truly are, reflections of coherence. You are no longer manifesting, you are harmonizing. And yet, the paradox remains: even the act of trying to maintain this state pulls you away from it. The field doesn't need you to hold it tightly, it needs you to trust it completely. True mastery is effortless. The enlightened do not perform stillness, they do our stillness. They do not chase alignment, they rest in awareness. And from that resting place, the entire cosmos bends to their vibration, not as servants, but as extensions of the same consciousness expressing itself in perfect timing. You cannot force what is already yours. You can only remember it. So remember now, breathe into that awareness behind your eyes, the one that has been watching since before you were born. Feel the infinite spaciousness behind your thoughts, the gentle hum that underlies every sensation. That is the field. That is you. When you place your attention there, not as effort but as returning, the illusion of waiting collapses. What you call manifestation becomes less about creating and more about allowing yourself to notice what was always unfolding. The field has already completed every possibility. Your awareness merely chooses which one to experience by matching its vibration. This is why some desires appear quickly while others take time. It's not because the universe is slow, but because the self that desires hasn't yet dissolved into the vibration of having. The quantum field doesn't respond to hope, it responds to wholeness. When you stop needing the thing, you align with the version of you that already has it. The moment you release the grasping frequency, the reality that matches your peace appears effortlessly. That is why the awakened manifest so fast. They do not seek to attract, they simply stop resisting what's already true. You might ask, if it's all already here, what is the point of desiring anything? And that question itself is sacred. Desire is not a flaw in the system, it's how consciousness explores itself. Every wish, every pull toward expansion, is life tasting itself anew. The key is not to silence desire, but to let it arise without need. To watch it bloom and fade like a wave in the ocean you are. You can participate in creation joyfully, knowing that nothing is missing, that every timeline exists now, and you are free to flow among them like light choosing its path through a prism. The hidden reason quantum manifestation works so fast is that it was never about time at all. It was about recognition. When you recognize that every potential exists within your awareness, the illusion of waiting evaporates. You realize the universe is not responding to you, it is you responding to itself. And in that realization, the game changes. Gratitude replaces striving, wonder replaces doubt, presence replaces planning. You become the observer who no longer waits for miracles because every breath is one. So, as this revelation settles into your heart, take a deep breath and let it integrate. You are not here to chase frequencies or decode reality. You are here to remember your role as the consciousness through which reality breathes. Every manifestation is simply the field remembering itself through you. The faster you surrender to that truth, the faster everything aligns. Because speed is only the illusion of resistance dissolving. When there is no resistance, there is no time. Only unfolding, only now. And now you stand at the threshold not of another technique, but of awareness itself. The question is not, can I manifest faster, but can I remember more deeply who I already am? If you can sit with that question without rushing for an answer, you will notice that life begins responding instantly, because it always was. So as you close your eyes tonight, let this remembrance hum softly within you. You are not calling things into being. You are witnessing being express itself through you. The hidden reason manifestation is fast is because you are the speed of consciousness itself. The moment you awaken to that truth, reality bends to greet you. And if this message has found you now, it is not random. The field chose this moment for your remembrance. So take this awareness with you. Practice stillness not as an act, but as a return. Watch the world rearrange as you rest in your true frequency. And when it does, when you feel reality mirroring your peace, share it, speak it, teach it. The field expands through every awakened being who remembers. Now breathe. The shift has already begun.